That is one of the prerequisites for setting a goal.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew how to get it, you'd have it.
Absolutely.
Goals are not for getting. Goals are for raising our level of consciousness, for expanding our level of awareness.
It is not who you are that's holding you back. It is the illusions of who you think you're not. This is Anders Hansen, and I'm here to help you shatter those illusions and live the life of your dreams.
Hello there, Mr. Bob.
Hello there. Anders, how are you?
Good. It's another day in paradise. Thank you for joining us in our Real Magic community.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We have about 800 beautiful souls in this group, always expanding their mind and growing. And it is such an honor to have you join us for this intro for our 3-day training. We're going to dig into goal setting today. Tomorrow, we're talking about self-worth, self-image, and then Friday, we will be spending time talking about money, what it is, what money really represents, and how to circulate more of it, how to create multiple sources of income. So very excited. And so for those of you who are just tuning in, thank you for being here. We have about 800 members spread out throughout the world, and they've all been looking forward to this day. It is, the first time that Mr. Bob is joining us here in the community, and it's really an honor and a pleasure to have you, Mr. Bob, as my friend and our mentor for all of us. It's something that we truly value.
It's a pleasure for me to be here, Anders. I think the work you're doing is absolutely amazing. You're teaching this in a totally different dimension. And I've been at the business now for over 50 years. And I've watched a lot of people at work, but I think what you've got is absolute genius. It's really good. And if a person really wants to change their life, they have to change their life. It's that simple. That was written in a book by a fellow over in Philadelphia. He said, if you want to change your life, you've got to change your life. I don't think the average person really understands that. So they got to dig into it.
Absolutely. I think most people hope and they wish, but they're not willing to make those committed decisions and really work with the law of sacrifice that we're spending a lot of time talking about. And that is definitely an effect in all areas. So why do you think that most people don't really go for what they want in life now that we're talking about goal setting today?
I don't think people know what they want. I don't think they've ever really sat down and got serious about what they seriously want.
Yeah.
And when the idea comes to their mind of what they really want, they usually reject it because they can't see how to get it.
Right.
And unfortunately, what they fail to realize, that is one of the prerequisites for setting a goal.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew how to get it, you'd have it.
Absolutely.
Goals are not for getting. Goals are for raising our level of consciousness, for expanding our level of awareness. Mm-hmm. And if you know how to reach a goal, it's not really the goal. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get it. Like persons say their goal is to get a new car. Well, that's okay, but they've probably got a new car 1 or 2 times or maybe more in their life. So they know how to get a new car. That's not going to take any stretching of the mind. Right. They've got to go after something they don't know how to get. Like Hillary did not know how to get to the top of Mount Everest. Mm-hmm. Orville and Wilbur Wright did not know how to get the plane in the air. Edison did not know how to illuminate the world. But they had this dream, and that's what they decided they were going to figure out how to do.
Yeah.
And so, that's where it's got to go.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the reason so many people are stuck. They don't understand that. And that's the thing that's going to inspire them. That's the thing that's going to motivate them.
Yeah.
And I think the way you've got your program structured, keep in mind, I've been at it a long time. The way you've got it structured, I think is excellent. Mm-hmm. You're going to hit it right in the nose.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And one thing that I treasure so highly is that when we met the first time and you asked me how I create an illusion, I shared something that I never shared before. Nobody in 20 years had asked me the question. And as I was sharing it, I remember thinking to myself, this is actually such a different thing. And when you said, well, that's the exact approach we should think about when it comes to goals. We should go as far as we can in our imagination, not give any thought to how it's going to
I
happen.
remember exactly what you said. You said you've got to think of something that you feel is impossible and then work backwards.
Yeah.
You get to where you want to go, and then you back up to where you are and get moving in that direction.
Absolutely. Well,
And
what
if
we
you
see
know
a
how to
lot.
get there, there's no growth.
No, absolutely not. But what I see though, oftentimes, is that people will have glimpses of that goal or the dream in their heart, and then even in the goal setting process, they let the paradigm kick in and affect them as they try and get clear on that goal. What is one thing we could do to really mitigate that and make sure it doesn't happen?
Well, I think you study every day.
Yeah.
You got to stay on top of this. This isn't something you just do periodically. Something you've got to study every day.
Yeah.
And consider this: 95, 97, somewhere around that percent of the population are not goal directed. They're not really making it happen. So you have to ask, what kind of energy am I picking up from them?
Yeah.
And it's not going to help you. So 95% of the people you're surrounded by are assisting you in going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Now, if we study every day, we're going to be inclined to move towards other people that study.
Absolutely. And that's what's so beautiful about this community. People are really great at supporting each other. But even then, there's still paradigms, that creep up every now and then and try and affect us in our goal setting process.
Well, that's natural. I mean, if it didn't, then there's no growth. See, it's overcoming all that. It's not being led by what's wrong. Don't let the outside control the inside.
Right.
You got to let the inside control the outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're getting a lot of comments already. And guys, just type in any questions that you have to Mr. Bob or myself. We'll answer the questions at the end of this segment in about 20 minutes time. We have a few folks on our team moderating the chat, so they will gather the questions for us. So when we get to the end, just have patience. We'll get to all those questions. A lot of folks are typing in already. Laura Maria says, hello, Anders and Bob. I just listened to Earl Nightingale on The Greatest Secret. It's beautiful material. And what I really feel so strongly and passionate about is, you had me study this program a while back. And as you're saying, the continuous study of this really caused you to get in touch with a side of yourself that you probably didn't even know was there. And I remember you saying to me, Mr. Bob, back then, I had created illusions for 20 years. I could do this professionally. But he said, how's that working out in your personal life? The truth is, it wasn't. It never dawned on me that I could use the same principle in my personal life to goal setting and goal achievement.
Well, I think what an individual has to do, Anders, is sit down and have a good talk to themselves and ask themselves, how am I doing? How am I off financially? Do I have all the money I need to provide the things I want to live the way I choose to live?
Yeah.
Then we have to ask ourselves, what's my social life like? How's my health? And if these things don't add up, say there's something missing.
Yeah.
Because you're endowed with all the potential that you can talk about. Every individual has absolutely infinite potential. There's no end to what we're capable of doing. So I think what we have to do is sit down and have a real good talk to ourselves and then say, well, I'm going to change this, and then get help to change it. See, if you knew how to change it, you would have done it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And so that's where the seminars and the education comes in. We allocate a percentage of our income for energy drive a car around. We drive a percentage of our income into the car itself. We provide a percentage of our income for shelter, for food, for clothes. Very few people, though, allocate a percentage of their income for their own personal growth.
Yeah.
And it's your own personal growth that's going to guarantee you that your income is going to go up. when I started to study this, it was almost like shock therapy to me. I'm hearing stuff and I thought, that's so simple. How come I don't know it?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know it because I had never been taught.
Right.
And my income changed so dramatically that it was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
I think when a person takes a look, I think you're doing a 3-day overview here, are you?
Yeah, we are. Yes.
Well, when a person takes a look at this for 2 or 3 days, they'll probably think, well, I know enough. That's true. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I used to run preview meetings. It would be 3 hours, and we'd throw a whole pile of information at them, and then people wouldn't go to the program. I used to think, I wonder why they're not going. They thought they knew enough.
Yeah.
The truth is, we never know enough. Like, I started to study this in 1961. I'm still studying it every day. I was in here about 4:30 this morning doing my exercises.
Yeah.
So there's no end to what we're doing. And there's no end to where we can go or how we can win.
I love that. That is one of the biggest things you taught me, was the importance of studying every day. And it took me a long time to get in harmony with that idea.
Well, you only have to do it until you form the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
You only have to till you want to, and then you don't have to anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We eat every day. We move around. We exercise our bodies, some a little more than others.
Mm-hmm.
We should develop our mind a little every day.
Absolutely.
Our potential is infinite. So goodness knows, I mean, we don't know where we're going to go or what we're capable of doing.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And I love how you said it about the overview. And I encounter that so often where people say, well, now I know enough so that I can. But I think if we don't understand that it's a lifelong commitment, we're screwed from the get-go. And so the 3 days here will be an overview. We'll definitely take a stab at 3 wonderful lessons from the new program, The Secret to Real Magic. But even then, it takes continuous application.
Well, I guarantee anybody that's listening, if they will follow your direction over maybe a 3 or 4 or 5 month period, they won't have to wonder whether they've got enough or not. They're going to know. And they're going to know that over that period of time, there's a process taking place. And their own awareness is expanding.
Yeah.
I use as an example, I'll point to a man or a woman in a seminar. I'll say, this is a woman, this is a man. And I know the audience is saying, well, that's really big, Bob. They think everybody knows that. But the truth is, everybody doesn't know it. Everybody does not know the difference in gender. Babies do not know it.
Yeah.
Babies must become aware of the difference of male and female.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to become aware of how to write, how to walk, how to talk. At a very early age, we stop developing awareness and we switch over and we think it's important we develop our intellect. Well, we've got all kinds of intellectual geniuses wandering around, but they're not making things happen.
That is such a great point. Yeah.
So, you know, you have to really take a serious look at this.
Yeah, that is such a great point. I had somebody at Real Magic Live last year say, well, I've already been here once. Why should I come back? And that is really, I guess, somebody advertising their ignorance in terms of this concept.
Yeah, well, they don't know. They really don't know.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. Like someone said, when you read a good book through the second time, you don't see something that you didn't see before. You see something in yourself that wasn't there before.
Absolutely.
So the real secret of this is keep going back to the same thing over and over and over again. I started listening to records or recordings. I listened to the same recordings thousands of times. And what I was really doing was reprogramming my mind.
Yeah.
I went from struggling to ridiculous success.
Absolutely.
I built a company that operated in 7 cities in 3 different countries, here, the United States and England. And it was very, very successful. And I gained an awareness that I could go anywhere and start a business as long as within the, confines of the laws of the land. There's nothing stopping me but me. You'll find so many people that there'd be people listening to our voice right now who are in a job they really don't like.
Yeah.
They're sick of it. And yet every day they get up and go to the job they really don't like. They're probably working for someone they really don't like. It could even be, the boss could even be incompetent. And people will do this, and they'll do it every day for years. Why wouldn't they quit and go and do what they really want to do?
Absolutely.
We only get one bite at the apple, one life so far as we know.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is start making it work.
Absolutely. I had somebody yesterday, in fact, on a Q&A call say, well, I have this business idea. This is what I want, but I'm just going to study a little bit more for the next year before I'm going to step out and act on it. And I said, for goodness sakes, act now. You'll never be ready. And I think that is one of the biggest illusions we live with, is the idea that we need to be ready before we take action.
Let the sand here that's rolling in the bottom of the glass represent the past. The sand in the top here represents the future. No one knows how much sand there is in the top of the glass.
Yeah.
What's in the bottom is gone. That's finished. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do anything about is what's right here, right in the center right now. That's all we ever have. And if we don't do it now, odds are pretty good we're not going to do it. And that doesn't matter what it is. We've got to step out and bet on ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when we first met, and I really started to wire my mind to a different way of thinking. I had a lot of doubt, and could I do this, and who am I to do this? And it took some practice. It really took some convincing me and really telling myself every day, pretty much the same way that Napoleon Hill was taught by Andrew Carnegie to tell himself that he was going to do this. And so I borrowed that example, but it didn't really take long until the belief started to take root. So we're already getting a lot of questions here. Yvonne, she asks, she says, I have a desire to have $1 million US. I just can't focus on that. Wait, can I just focus on that, as I cannot think of a way to get that by means of effort or skill? But good, doesn't that go back to, you don't need to question how, you just need to be very aware of what you want.
I had written on a gold card, she should write it on a card what she wants.
Yeah.
In 1961, I got a gold card in my pocket. I've been carrying one all those years, 59 years. I had written on the card that I was going to have in my possession by New Year's Day of 1970, $25,000. I'd given myself a decade to do it. You see, I really didn't believe it was going to happen.
Right.
And so I've learned something. You don't have to believe it. If you keep reading it or writing it, you're going to start to believe it. Yeah. If you tell yourself a lie often enough, you'll start to believe it's true. Well, if she writes that on a card and keeps reading it and gives thanks for it, so happy and grateful now that she has an estate of $1 million, ways will start come to her. People will start talking to her about doing things. It's almost like she magnetizes herself to whatever is required for the expression of the manifestation of the goal.
Absolutely. And it works like real magic when you start working that principle. I remember just 3 months prior to meeting you, a little over 3 years ago now, I had written 9 things down that I wanted more than anything, but I was sick, I was broke, I had an eviction notice on my door, there was nothing going for me. But I still wrote it down, and I didn't believe it. But one of the things I wrote down was, I want to work with the best in the world in personal development. No idea how that was going to transpire. And a short 3 months later, we bump into each other at the Bellagio. So, I mean, you can't question the how. Hill writes here, she wants to learn a little bit more about being in a higher frequency. Could you please explain what that means?
Well, if you could take a look at a line pad, like here's a paper with lines on. You see the lines? Just horizontal lines. If you take a line pad and towards the bottom, put a big X on a line. Now that X represents the frequency that you're on. Then go up, I don't know, 8 or 10 lines and put a star. That represents where you want to go.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is continually be raising your level of vibration. you've got to be continually stimulating yourself.
Yeah.
Now, the best way to do that is listening to good music, listening to self-help material, reading good books, mixing with people who are giving you big ideas all the time.
Yeah.
And you keep raising your level of consciousness. Now, the star is the goal.
Yeah.
And you got to really want it, because if you don't want it, you won't try and go after it. When you do want it, you start working. What you're doing is you're raising your frequency, raising your level of consciousness.
Absolutely. And it happens like real magic. I mean, it surely does. So one question we get a lot is, what date do I actually put on my goal card?
Well, you guess at it. No one knows what the date is.
Yeah.
You see, a goal is a spiritual seed. It's an idea that you plant in the garden of your mind. And no one knows what the gestation period is. The law of gender decrees that all seeds have a gestation or an incubation period. Mm-hmm. Every seed takes a period of time before it manifests. Like the seed for a baby takes approximately 280 days.
Yeah.
You're growing carrots around where I live, it takes around 70 days. And you've got to plant it at the right time, in the right environment. Well, when you write a goal down, you guess at the date. You don't know the date, you guess at it.
Yeah. And
generally you'll guess fairly accurately. But it is a guessing thing.
How often have, I think I remember you said it once, but like, how often do you actually see people hit their goals right on target?
Well, I've only seen it a couple of times in 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Saw John Canary that worked with me. He had a goal of doing seminars with me on March the 1st, 1974. I was in Chicago and I was on my way back to Canada to do a seminar that he was going to be at with me. Mm-hmm. And the airport in O'Hare, Chicago, shut down with snow. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get there. He had to do the seminar. It was March the 1st. He did it right on the button. George Fint was a vice president of Prudential in mid-America in the Chicago area. I saw him reach a goal right to the day. It doesn't happen very often. It's never happened to me.
Wow. I think that's an eye-opening thing. Like just hearing you saying that, I think most people have this idea in their mind that they have to hit it right on target, and if they don't, they're a failure.
The odds of hitting it on target are pretty remote.
Yeah. Because
first of all, you're guessing at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the trick is have a date. Northcote Parkinson said that work expands to fill the time allotted for it.
Absolutely.
If you give yourself a long time, it'll take you a long time.
Yeah.
If you just give yourself a short time, you'll get it done in a short time.
That's it. Yeah, I love that. So with just about 9 minutes left, Mr. Bob, I want to be very respectful of your time. I know you're heading to Europe tomorrow. Guys, if you have
2 hours.
Oh, you're leaving today?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm on my way.
Oh, okay. Well, so Laura Marie says here, question, what can help me clarify my goals? They're general, and I seem to not have clarity on what exactly it will look like when I have my general desires. I think that's a really good question.
Well, first of all, there's no general desires. A desire is an idea that you're emotionally involved in. Desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within, seeking expression without through your action. It's an idea that you got very emotionally involved in, and it's cooking in there. It wants to express itself in results.
Yeah.
Odds are pretty good. She's just writing down a list of things she wants. Mm-hmm. You got to sit and think, what do I really want? What do I really want? We have Phil Goldfein on our seminar frequently down in LA. He told me he wanted an Oscar. I said, I'll show you how to get it. Phil got the Oscar. He got an Emmy. He got a Tony. But he follows the rules.
Yeah,
he studies every day. He's been studying with me for 20 years. And there's no let up. So I would suggest that that your person that wrote the questions, that Laura Marie. Laura? Yeah. I would suggest Laura sit down, relax, and say, if I could have anything I want. She's got a blank check. She's got all the resources that are necessary. What do I really want? And it's like a dream. It'd be a fantasy. That's how it starts. That's why we can fantasize.
Absolutely.
And say, that's what I really want. Now, if you don't know how to get it, then you're on the right track. If you do know how to get it, it's not really a goal. It won't really keep you going. You got to go after something you really want, you don't know how to get. That's what keeps you going every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so great. Daughter says, but it is important to write a date on your goal card, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But what you've got to know is that you're guessing at the date when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not reached on that date, you give yourself an extension of time and keep going. But you do work toward a date. That's where Parkinson said, work expands to fill the time allotted for it. If you give yourself a long time, it'll take you a long time. Stop and ask yourself, how long will this take? You'll usually guess fairly accurately.
Yeah. Then Cindy asks, what is Bob's suggestions on fear? What to do when fear comes up? You feel it inside.
Face it. Face the thing you fear, and fear will leave you.
That's it.
Listen, fear and faith, polar opposites, both require that you believe in something you cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since that's true, choose faith over fear. Face the thing you fear, and fear will leave you. Fear is caused by ignorance. Step right in.
Love it. And yeah, because no one will ever be ready, right? So it's a matter of getting comfortable with uncomfortable, I think. Christina asks, how do you make a decision? Do you have a process that can make sure you are taking the right decision towards your goals and dreams?
I sure do. The only prerequisite for making a decision is, do you want it?
Uh-huh.
That's the only prerequisite. Doesn't matter about money, help, none of those things matter. Do you want it? You've got to really want it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to run into lots of objections, lots of problems.
That's it.
When you really want it, you'll keep going.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only prerequisite for a goal. And then you got to act like you've already got it. See, what you've done, if nothing's created or destroyed, everything's already here.
Yeah.
And when you see yourself with something, you've gone there. There is a place. You've raised your level of consciousness to the frequency that everything's on, that frequency that's required for you to get what you want. Most people are on an AM frequency trying to hear FM music. It doesn't work.
That is such a good. That's such a good point. I think most cases we look outside for evidence that we can make the decision, and then we don't make the decision, and then it fades. And I think this is a really good time, actually, with only a few minutes left, to start talking about making a committed decision, an advanced decision when you're listening here to stay.
I'll tell you, Anders, anyone that's listening, then will make a decision to do exactly what you tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's not going to tell you what time to go to bed or what to eat. But insofar as setting, reaching goals, do exactly what this man tells you. Get involved in anything he offers, take advantage of it. Trust me, he's very, very good. I've been at this for 59 years. I work all over the world. I would not endorse his work if I didn't think he knew what he's doing. He not only knows what he's doing, he's very good at it, and he's found a unique way of teaching people that's going to make it a lot easier for you to learn. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. And thank you for those kind words, Mr. Bob. It surely has been an amazing pleasure and an honor to collaborate on this program together with you. And
Anders, it's been my help, it's been my pleasure. I want to recommend anybody listening, make a decision right now, do exactly what he says. And when he offers you a program, and he will probably offer a program, he's not doing this just for the good of his health. He's doing it because he wants to help you. But if you really want help, you got to get in this, you got to study it. And you got to study it seriously. And don't stop studying it. And you're going to find good things just start to happen. They've happened to him, they've happened to me, and I'm going to tell you something that'll happen to you.
I really hope that you took a lot of valuable insight away from this video today. And to make sure you stay updated in terms of everything Real Magic World, including programs and live events, make sure that you enable your notifications and most importantly, subscribe to this channel so that you will be the first to know.